Alrighty. So find an MP3 file you wish to place in your animation. Now I give a great big long string here that you can type into Google to try to find MP3 files. And so don't do this to find stuff to pirate, but for educational purposes, for something to do with a project and upload it to me, I consider that part of fair and reasonable use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a new tab, and I could just type that stuff in, or I could command click on that URL here and hope that works. I said hope that works. Control click. Okay, yeah. Command clicking on it brought up. When I command clicked on that URL, it brought it up with the parameters that I have suggested there. Or you could copy all that and paste it. Okay, so what all of this does, I'm going to go ahead and explain a little bit, is this is looking in the title of the file that it's looking for, MP3. But we don't want to find any files named HTML, PHP, ASP, TXT, or PLS. All that means is that we just want a directory listing. Directory list, because if you search for an MP3, you're probably going to get to, some sketchy Russian download page or whatever. But if we do it this way, we should just find directories. So if I do that, I get a list of songs and all these directories that I could look at. I really don't want to even launch it because it's so loud. Is there a volume control on this? Somebody make it happen if I do this.
I don't see it back here.
Okay. All right, so I downloaded one. I'm going to launch it. Okay, whatever. So you could go and you could find one that you liked. Once you find a song that looks interesting, right click on it and do save link as.
On your keyboard there?
Yeah.
You should have like F10 is a volume switch and F9 is.
It should be. And look what happens if I press those. There's got to be a way to get it to work right, but I don't know. Maybe if I just keep trying each one. No. I tried those and it wasn't behaving the way it is in yours. So maybe it's because I have a different keyboard. I have the silver one and y'all have the white ones.
Yeah.
Don't know. Okay, so with that search string, you can substitute any word you wanted to instead of happy, like James Brown. All right, and then I'm going to find a James Brown song. Papa's Got a Brand New Bag. So I'm going to download that one. I'm going to right click on it and do save link as. Just copy it to my desktop to make it easy to find. Now, if I try to import that song and I get an error, I'm going to have to run it through the media encoder. Why does it give it an error? Because the animator program, the Flash program, is real picky about the formats it will accept. If it's going to be an MP3, it has to be in the exact right bit rate, etc. So we could encode it as a different bit rate MP3, or we could encode it as what's known as a WAV file, which is a Windows originally format that's uncompressed. So the files are larger. MP3s are very compressed, meaning that that the file sizes are small for the information that they contain. WAV files are not. We may have to convert it to a WAV file to get it to work, but we will find out. And if you're lucky, you won't even have to run the converter. If you try to put it in your music, in your animation, and it works great, good deal. You don't have to use a media encoder, but you can watch anyways. Okay. So we're going to use media encoder to transform the file into a format that Flash will be able to use. Well, why don't we try that first to make sure it's even necessary? Go ahead and launch Animator and make a new file. I'm going to make mine an ActionScript 3. Please do the same. And we need to import into the library. So once you get Animator up and you've done a file new, oh, you may as well also do a save as. We're going to call this one Q music because I think that's the letter of this assignment. All I did is do a file new, and then I'm doing a file save as.
Action script.
Yep, make it action
Class.
script, please. Action script 3.
3 class.
The action script 3. All right, and then I did a save as, and I saved it to my desktop. Okay, so I want to try to import my MP3 and see if I get an error. So import to library. See if I can find that James Brown one. Papa's got it in a brand new bag. I'm going to double click it. And lo and behold, it works. So I don't have to use a media encoder on it. I can check by coming over here to library, and I should see it listed there. Okay, so that's bizarre enough that it worked, and I'm going to try a different one. File, import. I'm going to get that symphonic science fiction one. I want to see it come up with an error. Okay, maybe it's not as picky as it used to be. Import to library one more time, because I've downloaded several songs. Surely one of them is going to break. Okay. See, this one's, nope, that one worked. All righty. File, import to library, happy birthday. Oh, got an error. So if I want to get happy birthday to work, I'm going to have to use media encoder. So I'm going to launch encoder, rocket, type in, go away, go away. Really? Get lost. Okay, go in the search box, type encoder. I said type, okay. This recording software gets in the way. All right, I'm going to type it there. Encoder. Launch your encoder. Pause it. Wait until it launches. Then come back. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to add a file to my conversion queue. So you see over here where it says queue. Where did you get lost? I wish there was a minimize on that little menu. Why is there not? Okay. So I click the plus sign, and I go and I find the file that I want. I saved them all to the desktop. I'm going to choose happy birthday. Now it's in my queue. But now I need to change its output type. Right now it's going to be saved as an MP4, and I don't trust Flash to be able to export that. Let me go back to my instructions to make sure I get this exactly right. In the queue window, under the name of the music, there should be a little pull-down menu. You can select the output of the conversion, choose waveform. So I'm going to click on that and choose waveform. Because waveforms are generally commonly accepted by everything that can do audio. They make big files, but they work. And then I just press the green button and it does the conversion. It should work. If I go back to my desktop, I'm going to see that it has made a WAV file alongside the MP3 file. So if I go back and I look and go to my desktop or whatever directory you were in, and then when I look for happy birthday, I'm going to find it as a WAV file as well as an MP3. All right. So there we go. Anybody who needed to convert their file, have you got that to work?
What did he say? Save this as?
Once you get it converted, add it to your Flash files library. And don't do what I'm going to do yet, because I'm going to show you a problem. And I want us to do this in a way that's going to solve the problem. The problem is that it's going to start looping over and over and over and over starting a new version of the song each time. So I'm just going to show you what I mean. What if I had a video and I had a, why am I not being allowed to draw anything? Yeah. Well, there they are. Oh, I was drawing with white on white. No wonder. Okay. All right. If I wasn't using white on white, I would have more luck. Okay, so I'm just going to draw something and I'm going to animate it going to the other side. The usual business. Insert a keyframe. And like I said, don't do this until you've seen what happens when I do it the wrong way. I didn't draw it in object mode, so it's behaving cranky. I hope this actually works. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to play it. There, I have my Easter egg moving. I didn't actually think that I had that song chosen anywhere. So I'm not sure why it's starting playing right off the bat, because I have not specified that I wanted it to start. So what I need to do is I need to pick the frame and then go to sound and to pick which one that I want to start playing. I really would rather play Papa's Got a Brand New Bag. And I apologize for the loudness of this. Maybe there's a way on this panel that I'm going to be able to control it. But when I press,
It's not bothering me.
When I press this, that works fine. But when I start letting it loop, you hear what it's doing? Every time it loops, it starts the song again. And we don't want it to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another frame, or actually I'm going to go back here and I'm going to add a script, which I do by going to actions. And I'm going to say go to and play, and I'm going to pick a different frame to start on. Like I want it to start at 5 rather than 1, because 1 is where it begins. Well, let's see if this actually works. I wasn't following the instructions, but I wanted to demonstrate that to you first. That may work, it may not. When we follow the instructions, it will. You see what I mean? It's going back to frame 5 to loop, rather than going all the way back to frame 1. Frame 1 is where the sound begins. So let's get this going. You're probably going to do about the same thing that I just did. Make some kind of animation, whatever. You know, and it could be as long or as slow as you wanted it to be. What would happen if at this point we went here and we tried to get it to stop its sound? Is there a way to do that? This is just me thinking out loud. If I go to insert a keyframe here, is there a way to stop the sound? I'm not spotting it right off the bat, so I'm going to leave that alone for now. All right, I'm just going to make a new document. Start fresh with y'all so you can work along with me. All right, so second page. Once you're done with the media encoder, you can just close it. So I'm going to right-click on the media encoder and get it to go away. Launch Animate. Create a new document with some kind of animation. For example, we could do some text tweening over 480 frames, so it would last for 20 seconds. So on the first frame, I'm going to put some text. Y'all may as well do this too. Music, what my text says. But I'm going to have to break it apart twice. I don't know if y'all remember that. Oh, we skipped finishing the Popeye assignment. Yeah, but we all like music. Let's continue this one. Okay, so I have to break it apart twice until I see the individual dots appear. That's what I have to do to get the text tween to work. So slap some text down on frame 1. Break it apart twice, and then go way the heck out to some later point, you know, because this music lasts a long time. So, you know, I could go up to frame 1000 or something. Okay, I'm going to set mine at 540 just because that seemed to be the last one I could do. So I'm going to insert a blank keyframe because I want to erase that word music. So not just a keyframe, but whatever frame you're picking out at the end, make it a blank keyframe, and then type in some more words like is awesome. Then you have to break that apart too. So you select your text, you do modify, break apart, you choose modify, break apart again, and you get your dots. And let's put a shape tween there. So somewhere between my last frame, for 540 on mine, and my first frame, I'm going to do create shape tween. I'm going to take this, okay, I should not have a sound at this point. I'm not sure why it oh, because I haven't imported my sound yet. File, import to library. Let me go get James Brown again. So click on the first frame, come down here and look at sound. If it's already got a music file selected and it's the right one, great. If it says none, just pick the one you want. What's the effect? All right, fade in, fade out, right channel, left channel, event, start, stop, stream. We might be able to get the music to stop at a certain point with those commands. All right, so I'm gonna play it and James Brown's gonna start singing to me. Okay, maybe I made the animation a little too long. Remember what I said about it not how it's going to keep looping back to frame one and keep starting the song again. So we're going to have 2 versions of the song playing and then 3 versions of the song playing and a 4th version of the song playing. To fix that, I'm going to go to the last frame and add that go to and play command. But I don't want to lose anybody to where I am so far. Has everybody got some animation on your screen with a music file playing? All right, let me go check.
Way, you left me alone.
Sure, I said that. Okay, so on frame 1, we need some text. Why don't we just use the word music? Okay. Then select the black cursor, and we need to break it apart. So break it apart by doing modify break. Okay. And then do it again to get it down to the individual dots. Now we don't need this stuff unless you're going to have different text at the end. If you're making yours look like mine, just go ahead and select that and cut it. Whatever. Now you're going to have to go way out to the end and make a keyframe. And who cares where it is? You can make it 100.
Oh, you mean down here?
Yeah, but you're going to make a blank keyframe. So it'll erase what's already there. Now put some more text there. All righty, so break that apart as well. Okay, and then make it a shape tween, so just right click on the bar somewhere between the end and the end. And do shape tween. Okay, let's test it out with command return.
That command didn't work for me.
Well, maybe it has to control.
It just hit return.
But if we hit command return, we ought to get it to play its own. There we go.
It wouldn't ever do it for me.
All right, I heard somebody doing They Might Be Giants there. Okay, so let's close this and let's add a music track to it. Go to the very first frame, and if we've imported anything, then we should be able to.
I didn't import it.
Okay. Prove that to me. Click on that name none and show me what's under there. All right, so let's import it. File.
Well, I was trying to import one that I sent to myself. This one right here.
Okay. So I'm going to show y'all how to do that looping so that it won't loop to the first one. And I want everybody to do this if you've got the ending frame. If you've got your keyframe at the end, even before you've done all the rest, this is going to help us. Right click on the very last frame of your animation, do actions, and type this exactly as I do it. Go to and play, and put a number there that's not the number 1. Even 2 would work. It has to have the parentheses just like I have.
Okay, so how do we get to that window?
You get to that window by right-clicking on the last frame and then choosing Actions. Did that get there? And then type Go to and Play. And when you type Go to and Play, and you can go ahead and do this even though you don't have your music track in, make it go capital A and capital P. And I'm sorry that it has to be that specific, but it's a programming language and capitalization counts. Okay, so
Play is to the left. Go to.
no, all lowercase.
Oh.
Yeah, I did the lowercase one. So, in capital A, in parentheses, shift 9, and then just type in the number 2. 5, whatever. And then now you're good to go. So run it again, and you'll see, not that you'll see much of a difference, but it'll repeat back to 5 rather than 1 each time.
Do I just get off the?
Yeah, you can just close that. So you can't really see what it's doing, but it's jumping back to 5 each time rather than 1. That's what Go to and Play does. Jumps back to that frame. So you're going to need to find a file and you're going to need to import it. And I recommend just using one of the ones we've already got. Just put that closed.
Okay, now you went to.
I did File, Import to Library. File, Import to Library. And you got to go and get the file. If you get an error message, we're going to have to run out of code.
Okay, so I haven't.
So download one of those music files of mine, just to shortcut this.
Okay, so where
So
do
go
I?
back to Google, go back to Chrome. You can leave that open. So just go here and click on either Happy Birthday or Symphonic Science Fiction. Wherever you downloaded it to. Let's do show and folder and see where it went to. That was a good choice, by the way. So it's in your downloads folder. So go back to here. And whoops.
Oh, it's still.
Go to downloads. Go way down to the S's. Click that and choose the bookmark.
Okay.
Then go back to frame 1.
Did it come over here?
It's there, but we have to click the library to see it. Okay, so click frame 1. Go to properties. And choose the sound that you want.
Okay. And
Now give it a run.
So it didn't even move on the test start.
Yeah, it's playing it, then it's jumping back to frame 5, and it's playing it again, playing frame. If it repeated frame 1, it would start another copy of the song, and then another until it had like 20 copies of it playing. So it sounds horrible. And what could you do with this? Well, you know, on that thing where we're supposed to do like a greeting card, if it's a birthday, you can find a happy birthday song. Christmas card, you can do a Christmas song, that kind of thing. Any song that you can download. And if it doesn't work, if you try to import a song that doesn't work, run the media encoder on it, following exactly the instructions that are in the assignment. It's stuck there. I'll show you. I can videotape myself.
I got some I've been working on for May 3rd.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so whenever you type text, you've got to break it apart. So select it and you modify, break it apart. Or is it already done? Break it apart. Okay, that's my
So it don't stop when you stop it, huh? Heck, you shut it off.
So you look in your first frame. And some, yes.
So how do you stop it? Okay. I clicked off of it the first time, I just kept going. So I guess you gotta actually close out the prompt.
And so if you added that script to the last frame, if you add that go to and play to the last frame. Okay. Well, let's run it and we can hear what it sounds like. What we're going to hear is it started repeating over and over and over. Now there's two parts of the song. Now there's three. So it's beginning to sound horrible. So close that.
This is a good start.
This sounds cool. Yeah. Okay, but right click on the last frame, choose actions, and type in, not that you can see it, but go to and play with a capital A. And a capital P. How do you do it? Oh, you can make this. All right, good deal. Good deal. All right. So we have the animation going there, but that's not going with it. Go to the last frame. You see that text there. Right click on the gray box of your shape type.
So it don't work on the actual video.
It's taking a while, but it's cool. All right. So we got that part. So now go to stop it. Go to frame 1. And choose which song you want to play. Click on the frame itself. The properties.
So after you get out of the test run, it don't work on the regular video.
So if you start it
That's like,
and you don't have that little script,
what's your actual, okay.
you're going to keep starting the song off.
So that's just the way to test it.
Made it like 30 seconds long. It's going to take a while.
Like
to do that.
Those things that you make it nice and then you add it. It's not gonna play that.
So one. Yeah.
That is the birthday song.
So now if you listen, it's actually got 2 versions of it playing. Yeah, so you know, the kids who like electronic. What we gotta do.
It don't stop the first song.
Exactly. So go to that one, right click on it, and choose actions. And you're going to want to type what's up there, and good luck seeing it. So it's the words go to and play with a capital A and a capital P. And maybe skip the first frame by putting inside parentheses 2. So to go to frame 2, you're going to do 7 1. Now when it plays, it won't get back to frame 1, which is the thing that triggers the song play. Okay. All right. Have we all got it going? Do we have an animation and it's all playing a sound? If so, then we're good to go.
Well, I had a question.
Yeah.
I tried, when I got out of the test box, I tried to play it, you know, on my timeline,
Right.
and it cut off. So
And that's okay, because when
Ted
you
was just telling me that it's just it would play like it would in the test box when I publish it.
right, exactly. When you publish it, you'll see it work right. But if you remember, we've already done some of those movie clips, and if you play them here, it doesn't even animate the movie clips. So this little play here is just kind of a preview of what it's really going to look like. It's not really very effective. So you do have to publish it or hit Command Return and actually see what it produces.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you add the music track, should you usually do that on a separate layer?
That's not a bad idea at all. And if my instructions didn't say that, then I should modify it to do so. You should put your buttons on one layer and your music on another and your actions on a third, but I just put everything on one for my demonstration here. All righty, we still have a little bit of time. I'd like us to start working on that Popeye one if you still have that file available to you.
Okay,
So you're going to want to save this one, save or save as, cue music. And I think I deleted my poop deck Pappy, but I figured that might be the case. So on the second version of it, I put the entire file again. So let me go get that. So go ahead and get that uploaded into folder Q if you can while I grab the second folder. And then you're going to go and you're going to find your cartoon animation. And if you can't find it, you're going to download from this folder. It's just the same thing that we did. So the folder we want is cartoon animation 2. If you know where your cartoon animation is, then do a file open on it, or whatever you normally do to open files. It might be tucked under file recent, open recent, but I moved all my projects, so I don't know where they are. So I'm going to grab a fresh copy of it from the I folder. So refresh your Dropbox if you need to. Come down, grab the assignments, go down to I, and grab pappy.fla. You don't need that if you already have your own. But if it takes you any time at all to find your own, that's a faster way to get it. So now I have my file, pappy.fla. I'm going to show it in Finder and then open it. All right, here we go. Here's our walking dude. I don't like that white box being around him.
We called it H, Pappy walking.
The second one's I. Right,
Oh,
we saved it as H. You're right, you're right, you're right. Okay, so I don't like this background because if I drew something behind him, I don't like that white box around him because if I drew something behind him, he would cover it up.
Oh man. Mine didn't get all the.
Yeah, if yours isn't what you remember, go ahead and grab it from the I folder. It'll save time rather than worrying about what it looked like last time. So you see what I mean, though? He's got that white box around him, so it's not really good animation yet. So I'm going to open the instructions on how to fix that.
Okay.
So you're going to want to grab pappy.fla from the I folder if you don't already have a good working copy. And then I'm going to open the instructions. Same folder, I cartoon animation number 2.
2.13 megabytes on the animation assignment.
Yeah, Pappy.fla 2.13 megabytes. Okay, so let's create a background for him to walk on. So we need a new layer for him to walk on. Once you get it downloaded and open, then you're going to Google up a background layer for him. So I'm going to use Google, and I'm going to look for a cartoon ship background. It doesn't really matter. The angry cow looking at him might be fun, so I'm going to grab that one. So I'm just going to right click on it and do save image as. Save it to my desktop where I put everything else. I'm going to call it ship, though, to make it easy to find. And then create a layer underneath Pappy and put this on it. So I'm saving it. I've got a ship file that's out on my desktop. So now I'm in my Pappy animation. And I'm going to create a new layer with the little new layer button. And I want it underneath Pappy, so it'll be a background. If it's not underneath Pappy, it'll be on top of him. That's not what I want.
I got photographs. You need
Whatever kind of background you want. I don't care if it's outer space, you know, whatever. All righty. And then I'm going to import to stage the background. But you know what I would honestly prefer you to do is to just open that file and copy and paste it rather than import to stage, because importing to stage puts it in the library, and then if I don't have that background when I test it, I won't be able to see it. So go to where it's saved. There's mine. Double click it and it'll bring up the little viewer and copy that. Just choose edit copy. So you see what I'm doing now. I'm not doing this within Flash. I went into the Mac Finder itself, the little happy face, and I moved to the desktop or whatever folder you save your stuff on. I double click on my background and choose edit copy. Then go back to frame 1 of your new layer and paste it. Apparently I already have it there, so I'm going to delete it. All righty. So I'm going to click on layer 1. I'm going to select the first frame of it and I'm going to paste in center. Now it's pretty small, so I'm going to stretch it out, and it's probably going to look lousy when I stretch it out, you know, but that's okay. I'm going to click show frame to try to get it to all show, and then I'm going to use free transform. Remember, unlike Illustrator, if you want to change the size of something, you have to select free transform, and I can do that. Whoa. Clearly, I could have chosen a better background image. And I just wanted to fill up the page. And it's giving me a little bit of grief about resizing both sides at the same time, but you can get it to work. I'm sure there's a key I could hold that would stop it from resizing both at the same time. Option, does that do it? Yeah, if you hold the option key when resizing it, it only moves one end rather than both ends like it was doing for me before. Okay, so I have a background, yay, but he's still covering up the background. And if you don't have the background yet, I still want you to follow along with the next steps because I need to show this to everybody else, and then I'll come back and I'll help you with the background. Because the background isn't the most important part of the assignment. The most important part of the assignment is getting rid of the white box. Okay, so we need to edit Pappy to remove the block around him. And my warning is that this is somewhat tedious. You thought it was tedious just changing the frame each time. Wait till you get a load of this. So we got to double click on Pappy to edit that movie clip. Or you could just go to the library and pick the first Pappy, or I mean, click the movie clip. But just everybody's got a Pappy on their screen, right? Thumbs up or thumb down.
I'm trying to get to that.
Okay, like I said, if you haven't got the background yet, skip that step. I'll come back and help. Just double click on Pappy. Double click on him again. Now I'm editing him. And remember how we did this? How in the movie clip we had 24 frames? We're going to change each one of those frames to remove the white box around it. But make sure you're editing the movie clip, not the basic scene. Because if you're in the basic scene, you can't change those frames. We don't see all 24 frames. So you double click on Pappy, or you go to the library and double click on the Pappy movie. Where's my instructions? I've lost my instructions. Okay, fine, I get them again. Okay, so I'm going to show this step and then I'm going to wander around. Make sure that everybody's getting where they want to go. So double click on Pappy to edit the movie clip, select frame 1, select the character. Now, whenever you hear the word select, you know that you need to use a black cursor. So grab the black cursor, select frame 1, select our dude. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the modify menu, and we're not going to use break apart. We're going to choose bitmap, trace bitmap. So I have them selected, right? Go up to modify, bitmap, trace bitmap. And it'll come up with this screen. And we want it to look pretty good. So I'm going to lower that color threshold. This is like the trace option in Illustrator. I'm going to lower the color threshold to like maybe 20. And I'm going to make the minimum area like 2, something like that. If I preview it, I can see what it looks like. And that looks okay. So I'm going to click OK. Now notice that just like break apart on your text turned it all into dots, he's all into dots now. So click off of him and click back on him, and you could delete the white. And oops, there's also some between his arms.
You said you lowered it to what?
I moved it to 20 and 2. 20 and 2, like this. Let me choose it again. Modify, bitmap, trace bitmap. The top one, I made 20, and the bottom one, I made 2. Then I clicked OK. And we're going to do this to all 24 frames. And there's no keyboard shortcuts to shorten the process. Once he turns into all dots, deselect him. Just click on the gray background and then reselect the white stuff and press the delete button. So you deselect by pressing on the gray somewhere. I accidentally wound up.
Okay.
And now I need to do that to the second frame and the third frame. So you select frame 2, you select your dude and do it all again. And then frame 3, you select your dude and do it all again. So I've gone to another frame. I'm going to repeat the process. Modify bitmap trace, 20 and 2, click OK. Deselect him, press white, and then if there's any extra white spots on him, delete that as well.
You don't have to drag him over to the stage every time, do you?
No, we've already got him on where we wanted him on the stage.
Okay.
Okay, now it's time for me to walk around. But notice this. I'm going to go ahead and play it, and it's going to look really lousy because I've only done the first 3 frames. But you're going to see that sometimes the white background disappears. Those are on the frames that I fixed. And once I've done all 24, then it's going to all be hunky-dory. Oh, and that's something I should have said. If you can tell what you're deleting, great. But if you can't tell the difference between his white parts and the background, what I would recommend doing would be to go back to the scene 1, select the first frame of scene 1, and then under properties, click on the back, or just click on the gray somewhere and so change the stage color from white to something else. And that way you'll be able to see if you've deleted the white or not. So I don't know if you got to watch what I did there, but I like having a different color other than white to work with. So I went back to scene 1 by clicking scene 1. I deselected everything by clicking on the gray background. And then under properties, I was able to choose a new background. Then when I go back into the movie clip by double clicking him, then I can tell, you know, it's easier for me to see what's white and what's not. Yes, he does. Blue and Washington. Yes. Oh, okay. Anyways, if you up the minimum area, you up the color threshold, then it's going to look pretty lousy. And if you make the color threshold too small, then it's going to have kind of a white as he walks around. So I gave you numbers that I think look pretty good, but you're free to experiment.
Okay. That's what I was curious.
Okay, I'm gonna go and get that background.
Go ahead and delete one there before you go back. Because you already traced the bitmap, you may as well delete it right now before you leave it. So declick and then deselect. Click on the gray, come back. Click on the white.
Now do
Delete. Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that's what I was supposed to do.
Yeah. So has that worked on the other ones? Have you got it to work on the other?
I never did deselect.
Oh, okay, okay. So you're gonna have to go back, but let's get your background going first.
Yeah, let me go.
Well, all right. So do a file save, a right click and a save image as. Right on here, right click.
Let me get it off of this. So, I didn't get rid of this. It's gonna make it larger.
Right click on it, it'll be okay. Try to right click. Yeah, save image as.
Just say background.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Shift background.
Okay.
So double click it and get a copy. So edit copy. And honestly, if you're putting images in your Flash documents, I think you should edit copy rather than import to stage. It's in the center, it may be humongous.
It is.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to zoom way out, change that little thing. Yeah, that 100% to like fit in the window. Yeah, that'll work. And then grab the distort one.
Distort?
Yeah, that's it. Retransform. Sorry, I called it the wrong thing. Retransform. And holding the option key down so it doesn't change both sides, grab one of the corners. Start shrinking it until you can get it to fit on the stage. Yeah. All right, now it's there. except we actually wanted it, it's on, cut it. We don't want it inside the movie. So go ahead and cut it, Control X, or Control C, yeah, Control X does a cut, doesn't, or just choose edit cut from there, I'm being too weird. Edit cut. Now go back to scene 1, make a new layer. And drag it underneath layer 1 so that we're not covering Pappy up. Alrighty. Now click on frame 1 of that layer. So kind of odd, let's move this thing back so that we can get to frame 1. There we go. Yeah, click on frame 1 of layer 2 and paste. Paste in center. Yeah, it's already small. Good deal.
Okay, now I can bring this back up.
Yeah, bring it back up, and you can find Pappy again. He seems to be off on the side anymore. So just use the space bar and move around until you find him. So you just double click on him, start that process again. Go back to frame 1.
Oh man.
Select, deselect, reselect. Yeah, so click it. Whoops, don't move them, or else it's going not. We're not going to like the results. Deselect by clicking on the gray. Reselect by selecting the Y. Delete. Get the little stuff in his arm too. Do the same thing for frame 2.
Reselect.
Yeah. And when I scolded you for moving him, if all of the rest of them are right there, then we're going to want to move the frame 1 over as well. So you may as well go back to, yeah, the rest of them are there, aren't they? So, yeah, deselect. Whoa.
What's going on?
It got out of the movie clip. We're back at scene 1, so double click on him again. All right. Maybe he's not transformed. We'll modify.
Well, that's on 3 now.
Yeah, that's cool. So let's do modify bitmap trace. I figured you already.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, see if you can deselect with a single click. All right. There. Now try deleting. There. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay, that frame 1 actually needs to be where he is. So go back to frame 1 and drag him over to about where the other one is.
Are you sure?
And then select between frame 1 and 2 until you can tell that you got it right. Now that's real close, but if you go back to 1 and nudge him over a little bit more. Yeah, okay. And then keep working on all 24 of the frames. There is more to the assignment. Anybody need any help before I get back up there? Hey, that's cool. I'll get back around. We can add a drop shadow to them. You can at least get them walking across the stage if you don't have them doing that yet. I'm not going to move ahead. We're still working on it.
It'd be difficult to add color with it.
We'd have to paint them in order to do that. And getting that to work in this application might be a challenge. What if we double clicked him? Can we fill him with a different color? Hey, we can. What do you know? But it would take considerable time to get it to work. You see what it's doing? If we had traced them with fewer colors than 20, then we might be able to paint them more easily. So we just have to select each color and change its color. Good point. And so next time that well, you know what? I haven't changed them all yet. So why don't I try it? I'm going to select him and do a modify bitmap, trace bitmap, and color threshold. I don't know. I'm going to change it to 100 and preview, see what it looks like. All right. Maybe that's a bit too much. 50. So if you wanted to redo the assignment with a higher color threshold, then you could probably paint it a little bit better. Also, the paint bucket does work, but you have to mess with the sensitivity of the paint bucket. I'm not getting it to work. I've never really investigated why the paint bucket doesn't work the way I think it should.
So why does you lose your sharpness out of your photograph?
If I traced it with a low threshold, then it keeps all the sharpness, but it's really hard to paint him. Let me undo all that and see if I can get it going again. So like here he is right now. If I select him now and trace him with a low threshold, what am I doing? Modify, bitmap, trace bitmap. 20 or 10, something like that. Then it keeps it pretty nice and crisp. But now we've got a whole bunch of different colors we would have to paint. So if we're trying to paint him and we choose like red for the paint bucket and we start dropping, you see what's going on?
Yeah.
So you kind of get, you have to kind of decide what you want, more detail or easier ability to change his colors.
Okay, but what I was talking about was on my photograph that I brought over.
Oh, yeah.
It's dulled out. It's like,
So the ship is dulled out?
yeah.
I want to see that. I don't think we're going to get to doing the drop shadow, guys. So I think we'll do the drop shadow next Thursday.
You know what I'm saying? Remember how
But
sharp it
click
was?
back on scene 1, and I bet it crisps. There we go. It's because we were editing the movie clip. So now we actually want him to walk. I'm not sure if he's walking it. Do you have him walking across the screen?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, yeah, there we go. So we just have more white to delete, and it's going to look perfect.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Good work. So once you get this uploaded, once you're happy with it, we'll do the drop shadow next time. Okay, what you're going to want to that's shift. Go back to scene 1 and then animate him. Okay. Go back into your Pappy movie clip. You can just double click on it and get back into it. Okay, we're going to have to take layer 2. So click on layer 2 and grab it back down. Start clicking it back down. We gotta get it out of the
Oh,
movie.
it got all of them. It looked like.
So then go back to scene 1 and you can layer paste it. Layer, drag it underneath Pappy so it's behind him, and paste it. Okay. Then you do our usual trick of making a keyframe now 15 minutes. Yeah. Motion. We've already got him in motion. He's a movie clip and you can animate him. Exactly.
So how do I get back to where I was?
You double click on him. That edits his movie again.
Okay.
I want to find a way of getting that easier. How to turn him color without. That's feel free to research that, and I will look into it a little bit.
It wasn't so pixelated. Can we illustrate them? Like in Illustrator?
Yeah, if you brought it into Illustrator and changed it that way, then absolutely you could do it. And you can even import an Illustrator document as a whole bunch of individual, frames. Otherwise, you convert them to JPEG and bring them in. So that's something to think about. I know how the paint bucket works in Illustrator, I think so.
So those, that artwork that you took there was vector art. Yeah.
No, I just,
It was pretty clear. Yeah, those lines didn't seem like pixels. They sent, they were real clear and sharp.
All righty, so what I would do is I would save it, save as, and upload it to the correct Dropbox. I'm saying this for the benefit of the recording, not y'all. Y'all know this. Save it. Go ahead and publish it. Or just command return or control return, however you like to publish things. Close it and upload it to the Dropbox. Cartoon Animation 2. It seems to be a very large file. It's taking a long time to upload my SWF.